Mateo, anything else you want to mention from your?
Uh, yeah, I'll second. How it ends is fantastic. It's hilarious. It comes out in a couple weeks,
Okay.
so everyone can check it out. I saw it at South by Southwest, so I didn't watch it for Tribeca. But it is very good, very very funny, and it has a ton of cameos in it. Every time you think there can't be someone else in it, someone else pops up.
I know.
And it's also surprisingly really heartwarming and kind of heartbreaking. A couple I think I might have saw the most out of anyone, so I'm not going to go through like a list, but a
Right.
couple that I would definitely really recommend to watch out for, that may not be on people's radars is Mark, Mary, and Some Other People,
Mhm.
which I think was the best comedy I saw at Tribeca. It's very, very naturally funny. It stars Ben Rosenfield, who you might know from Boardwalk Empire, and Haley Law, who was in Riverdale. And it's a young couple, one black, one white, and they fall in love. They get married, and then open up their marriage to ethical non-monogamy, and see if that can actually work, inviting other partners in. It's really, really fantastic film, and so I've seen a surprisingly long amount of non-monogamy relationship films this year. And most of them were drama, and this one does have a lot of dramatic moments. It hits the right buttons, but it is really, really funny, and the two of them have fantastic chemistry, and has a great supporting cast. So I would definitely recommend that one. Did anyone see that one?
No, but
I saw that one. Yeah. I
non
really like that one too. It was one of my favorites of the festival, actually, too.
Nice.
non-monogamy relation. So open.
An open relationship, an ethical non-monogamy is what they call it. But yeah, an open relationship, and how it works and when it doesn't, um, and the shenanigans that ensue.
I think I'm gonna make a movie about ethical open-faced sandwiches.
I think that'd be a great documentary and musical. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Cool.
And I'd also really recommend Creation Stories, which is the same writer as Trainspotting, and Danny Boyle also produced it.
Wait,
And
when
it
you
has
say, was it for Ira for the book or for the screenwriter?
Sorry, Irving Welsh.
Irving, sorry, not Ira. Irving,
yeah.
thank you. Sorry.
He co-wrote it, and it's about it stars Trainspotting star as well, Ewan Bremer, and it is about the creation of Creation Records, which is one of the best rock labels, indie rock labels of all time.
How did I miss this?
The Jesus and Mary chain came from there. Oasis came from them. And it is very much in the vein of a Trainspotting kind of visually style. It is whacked out. It is really funny. The music soundtrack is incredible. So I highly recommend.
Is that a narrative or is that a doc?
It's a narrative, yeah.
Okay.
It's a narrative with a very great visual style. Who directed? Nick Moran directed that. So it wasn't. It's kind of Trainspotting-esque, without. Well, no, I was going to say without all of the drug use, but no, the drug use is there.
Train High Fidelity.
Train High Fidelity. There it is. And the last one I have so many I would recommend, but I would also put out Liza Anonymous, which is a short, and it is a begging to be a feature, and I really hope they make it into a feature. But it has Daniel Beckman, and she plays a girl who is obsessed with going to self-help groups, and she changes her identity from group to group until she's finally caught, and why she's doing that. But it's really intriguing. It's very funny. And it's one of those films that it does tell a complete story in 13 minutes, but it absolutely is calling for an hour and a half feature.
What's the name of that one?
Liza Anonymous.
I like that. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like really, really funny or really, really dark. or right?
Right, and it's funny, and it could go dark with a longer running time, but it's strong. It's a good one.
Cool. So those are your highlights.
Yeah, I mean it's shit. I mean I have a lot of. I mean,
Share your wisdom.
I can't.
Come on, you got some good ones.
I'm not gonna share, the God Committee raves as much as you did. Poser is great. I would say that. It's a obsession drama with incredible music from the Columbus, Ohio indie music scene. Bobby Kidden, who's a real singer in a Columbus band, she's in the film and she plays kind of a fictional version of herself. A little single white female with an indie music scene, really, really good. Queen of Glory is fantastic. I would highly recommend that. It's about a young woman her mother passes, and she finds out that she is inheriting her Christian bookstore, and along with that, she has to deal with all of her family coming over and having to question all of her moves. They're all of her African ancestors and demanding that they do a traditional funeral service and not the white service that she prefers. It's really beautifully written. Nana Minsha wrote, directed it, and stars in it. She's incredible. I think she's definitely someone to watch.
Cool.
And what else? I would also say As of Yet is another pandemic comedy that is really, really sharp and funny, and it's told entirely through Zoom calls. And it is about a young woman who is stuck in her apartment, and she's been flirting with a guy online, and she has a young black woman, and her best friend, who is a white, very, very Karen-esque kind of roommate, is a very problematic figure in her life, and how everyone in her life is sort of telling her that this girl is not great, but she has known her too long and keeps her in her life. But by using just complete Zoom calls, it's really interesting how they have a fully fleshed narrative, and it's quite emotional as well.
And that was also produced by the Duplass brothers, right?
It was. I think actually that is the Duplass brothers. I don't know if they had anything to do with 7 Days. Now that I'm saying that, there's so many pandemic shows. The Duplass brothers can't produce them all.
But they can try. Oh, let me see. I'm just double checking 7 Days. We got, they produced it as well.
They love. Oh, they also did at Sundance. Mark Duplass was also in a pandemic comedy that was also in all Zoom calls.
Wow.
Where he was learning Spanish.
They were busy
over Zoom. It's a Duplass resume builder now to do a pandemic comedy.
Mateo, those are some great titles, and there's like a couple in there that I really want to see. So, yeah. What was the one?
And a couple that you do not.
Yeah. we all have our God committee of the year.
My God committee is what was it? New York. Jesus Christ, I can't even think of what it's called. Title. New Dating and New York.
Okay.
It is just awful. It is like and it has like, I mean, I am a sucker for like a cheesy romance, and that's exactly what it is. And it has Jabuki Young White, who is a correspondent on The Daily Show, and I really like him. The cast is actually pretty good in it. It's just everything that you hate about a bad romantic comedy is this. A narrator who's not actually part of the story, and why he knows everything about the story and just disappears eventually, and it's not good.
All right. So that's your least favorite of the year.
That's my God committee.
That's your God committee. So Mateo, what would you say is your favorite movie of the festival?
My favorite movie of the festival, I have a few probably, but I loved The Novice, Queen of Glory, Creation Stories are probably a good tie. I kind of separate In the Heights because it was sort of the gala.
Right.
I don't really.
Yeah,
it was
I think
coming
it's
out.
smart to separate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think In the Heights is probably my favorite film of the year, but it is kind of separate to me. And those were probably my top three, with Poser really, really coming in strong. I really liked it. And it has a fantastic soundtrack. The band I went downloaded. They're called Damn the Witch Siren is one of the bands that's in it, and they're a really great indie rock band. That they're on the soundtrack, and the lead singer is in the film.
Sweet. Well, if you're into soundtracks, I would recommend Love Spreads because it's got some good indie rock in there. So
Nice.
yeah, that's the one with the Aaliyah Shawkat. Karen, best and worst of the festival for you.
Well, besides False Positive, I forgot to mention earlier, there's another movie with Elijah Wood I saw, and I interviewed the director. It was the Ted Bundy movie, No Man of God, and it kind of explores his mindset once he's in prison. And I really like the fact that they concentrated on him trying to maybe reform himself after his crimes, and Elijah Wood plays the FBI agent who's interviewing him. And I like the fact that it doesn't really glorify like his crimes, and instead focuses on his maybe trying to redeem himself in that sense. And I thought that was an interesting take on that aspect of like true crime and overall. And think I'm gonna give follow Matt's advice and check out Werewolves Within again. And I really like certain parts of that one, so overall I just want to check that one out again. And probably my worst was I think Settlers. I reviewed that one, and there's certain aspects that I liked, like the performances and like the set design, but overall I just thought the story was kind of lagging and really a slow burn overall. So that was probably my least favorite of the festival.
Settlers, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I could see that. Definitely. All right. Matt, so Werewolves Within, The Novice.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the worst would be the one I didn't talk about yet, which is Italian Studies, which isn't an awful film. It stars Vanessa Kirby, and it's about a woman who basically has amnesia on the streets of New York, and she befriends a teenager and then tries to hang out with their group of teenage friends because she believes she's this author, which she may or may not be, which kind of is, to interview them for the idea of her new book. But it's one of these things where I think it would have been better as a short. And I think they tried to do something. It was filmed pre-pandemic in New York City, so she's in crowds of people in New York City, and I think they were trying very hard to have her like hide the camera and have her walk around New York City, and hopefully people like talk to her, but like, nobody talked to her. And it was more of just her kind of looking around weird and strange, with not people interacting with her, and more people just staring at the camera than anything else. And they didn't cut any of that out. Unlike something where, you know, for those who've seen Under the Skin, you know, Scarlett Johansson was literally in a van in Glasgow and other places, Scotland, for people who did not recognize her, and getting into some really serious, strange things. That was not acting. Those were not actors, and half the thing. She was interacting with strangers. I think they were going for that, and they completely missed it. So I would say that's my worst, since that's the only other film I saw. And of course, Werewolves Within.
Did you just create a theme song to the movie?
No, it's Werewolves of London. You know, I just switched it around.
All right.
So Randy, what were your favorite and worst of the festival?
Well, you all know my least favorite. It's it stars Fraser Crane, Dr. Fraser Crane. But yeah, God Committee is just the
X-Men: The Last Stand?
Yeah, it was
he's most known for X-Men: The Last Stand.
That's
the best of the X-Men
That's
movies.
one of the few film performances I know of it. But yeah, that is just disappointing. So I'd say my favorite is probably a tie between Catch the Fair One and the Novice. I really think that they were both very strong films, fantastic performances, and yeah, I definitely want to revisit those movies. I love them so much. There is so much more. The Elijah Wood movie, Karen, that you mentioned, I wanted to see that. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that one either because it was also pulled.
Yeah.
And but I'm very excited to see that one as well.
Yeah. And
I'm also looking forward to. I possibly going to have Lauren Hadaway come on the podcast when the movie gets its official release for The Novice. So I'm looking forward to that.
oh, cool, sweet. That's awesome. Also, I wanted to mention Vanessa Kirby. She was in 2 films recently, The World to Come, which was actually a very uneventful lesbian period drama, but she was fantastic in it. And also,
I really liked it. It's very like kind of went under the radar, but I thought it was really really good.
It was not on my radar for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually, side note, a much better lesbian romance in Ammonite with Kate Winslet and Saoirse Ronan. Came out last year or the year before. Anyway, much better than The World to Come in my opinion. If you haven't seen it already, yeah. So
I've seen them both. Yeah.
Okay.
Both. That Ammonite, I would agree it's the better of the film, but I really, other than Casey Affleck being Casey Affleck, I would recommend The World to Come.
Sure. And also Pieces of a Woman with Vanessa Kirby. That was one of the best movies of last year. Before,
if you can get through Shia LaBeouf existing in that film, she is fantastic in it.
Really, not a fan. Okay.
Well, he's not a nice man.
Yeah, he's a professional douchebag.
Is he? Yeah. Well, I guess on screen is different from the actual person. Because I loved the Peanut Butter Falcon was my favorite movie of 2019, and Honey Boy was pretty close too. It's same year. So yeah, but I could see him being not a nice guy. But all right, guys. So I think that about does it for Tribeca. Hopefully next year we will do this in person. And yeah, had a lot of fun speaking with you guys. But before we go, I just wanted to mention real quick the time in which this airs. Black Widow will be released. So that is the latest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So check that out. Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh. Yeah, really good cast. I'm not going to name everybody, but obviously a big cast in that big blockbuster. Also, I wanted to mention another Kelsey Grammer film. I haven't seen this one, but it is now out on video on demand and digital. It's called The Space Between, and it is a dramedy of sorts where he plays an eccentric musician who the record label wants to drop him as a client. So they send one of their employees to go out and find him and try to, basically fire him, I guess. So that's The Space Between.
You can't fire who you can't find.
Right, it's unfireable.
And you can't find Kelsey Grammer.
So yeah, I'll probably check that one out in the future. And yeah, guys, since I have you, plugs, anything going on, anything you want to mention?
Well, make sure you drop on by to the Overdue Rentals podcast. There's plenty of episodes out, but of course, Harvey Guillen was in for Werewolves Within. A lot of people know Harvey from either What We Do in the Shadows, the TV version, or Nora's Infinite Playlist, and a lot of other stuff. But for those who don't know it, Overdue Rentals, we have a podcast where we talk about films that people kind of forgot about, whether they never got enough attention or were even big award winners and people never kind of talk about them anymore. So Harvey came on to talk about Werewolves Within, and then he talked about his overdue rental choice, which is Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures, which is of course Kate Winslet and Melanie Linsky's first film. And so it was really fun. So go and listen to that. Come and join us. It'll be great. Anchor.fm/overdue rentals, or just search Overdue Rentals where you listen to your podcasts. You'll find it.
Kate Winslet was super young. She was like what, 16, 17 in that?
I can't remember what specific age, but I just remember it's the first film for both of them.
Wow. That was what, 94?
Yeah, I think 93, 94, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, I remember 91, actually. I can't even remember now. I literally just talked about it, and I can't remember.
Yeah, it's okay. That's what Wikipedia is for. Come on. Mateo, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, well, you can check out my reviews at theartswireweekly.com. I got a lot of Tribeca recaps still coming up, a lot of stuff from Shudder. I also am a playwright. My play Pitch is on Amazon right now as part of a play collection called We're Not Neutral, which is plays that was written during the pandemic last year, all by BIPOC writers. And that is at Amazon, both in paperback and Kindle. I am. If you're in New York City parks this summer, you might see me and my theater group doing some really silly, fun theater in the park, from Governor's Island to Central Park to a lot of other places.
What type of theater? Shakespeare or other stuff?
Children's theater.
Okay.
One is a bilingual story about a possum and the shenanigans that him and his barnyard friends get into. And the other one is a story of a very lonely zebra in a zoo. But they're very fun and silly, and they'll be everywhere. Like I said, from Governor's Island, they'll be. We have a weekend in the Bronx. We have a weekend in Central Park. It'll be a lot of fun, and that's with the theater, my ensemble group, Rising Sun performance production.
You should hook up with the guys that did Glob lessons.
We should, and we'll both share our stories of bad past theater and now do good theater.
I love it. I love it. And last but not least, Karen, what do you have going on?
As always, posting some interviews and reviews from Tribeca and just in general for especially horror for Shaki, and then also now working with Matt on our new website, Cinema Daily US, and having some reviews and interviews over there from the festival as well, and news articles over there as well. So both of those websites overall.
Sounds good. Karen's always busy. Always busy. Awesome. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much. This was amazing. You guys are always welcome back. You're great guests, very insightful stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to just thank everybody watching at home on your devices. If you want to see new episodes of Under the Radar, just go to Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and you can catch new episodes every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we've got episodes, we've got interviews, we've got feature-length commentaries of classic films, and a lot of fun stuff. So check that out, share and subscribe. And again, thank you guys, and thank you for watching. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar. See you next time.